Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Gadigal people.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Amanda Bauer. It's Friday, February 10. In Squiz Kids Today, an AI-powered search engine, Namibia's classroom problem, the Sydney kid in the Super Bowl, and a vampire planet discovered. That's what's making news, kids style.
The lowdown.
Hands up if you've never in your life Googled anything. Yeah, I didn't think so. For more than 20 years, Google has been used by billions of people all over the world whenever they want to find or learn something on the internet. The company that started out as a uni project in California is now one of the most powerful companies in the world, and its search engine earns about $100 billion each year. But now there's a new search engine in town. It's powered by the latest version of the ChatGPT artificial intelligence software, and some tech experts are saying it's better than Google. You've heard of ChatGPT, right? It's the software that everyone's talking about because it can write an English essay in seconds, or do your social studies homework, or, write a podcast. I wrote this all by myself, I promise. The new search engine was launched this week just for a small group of testers who have explored what it can do. For example, if you type in "write me a menu for a dinner party" on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see what you'd normally expect: ads and links to recipe websites. But on the right side, the AI engine starts typing out a response to you in full sentences. You can then open a chat window and say, "Get me a shopping list for that menu, sorted by aisle, with the amounts needed to make enough food for 8 people." The search engine delivers, although it should be said that on some simple maths requests, it makes mistakes, proving that sometimes even the newest search engine isn't as good as your human brain. Actually, maybe it's not fair to say that this is a new search engine. We're talking about the relaunch of Microsoft's search engine, Bing. For years, Bing has been the laughingstock of the search world, meaning that people made fun of it because it was so bad. I mean, we could try that experiment again. Hands up if you've never in your life used Bing to search for something. Yeah, a whole lot of hands went up in the air. But apparently, with this new version of Bing, Google could have real competition on its hands. I'll put some links in your episode notes to learn more.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in the southern African country of Namibia, where the president has told teachers that they should stop complaining about a lack of classrooms and get to work building their own. Yeah, you heard that right. Since the start of this school year, pictures have been shared all over Namibia of kids sitting outside learning underneath trees because there aren't enough classrooms to hold them all, although that has been a problem in Namibia for many years. Now, the country's president, Hage Geingob, has said that although the lack of classrooms is a concern, he's bothered that teachers are waiting for the government to construct classrooms. They should, he says, use their hands and build temporary ones by putting up wooden poles and blickies, which is a local word for tin roof sheeting. If you're sitting at school listening to this, have a look around your classroom. I'm going to guess that you've got books, carpets, desks, chairs, some kind of TV or screen, a whiteboard, maybe even computers or tablets. Quite a difference, isn't it?
Sport time.
The second Sunday in February is huge in America. It's their National Football League's grand final, otherwise known as the Super Bowl. Even people who don't love gridiron watch it for the blockbuster ads. This year, it will cost advertisers $10 million American dollars to run one 30-second ad. Whoa. I'll put a link in your episode notes to some classic Super Bowl ads. But it's a good bet that way more Australians will be watching the Super Bowl this year as the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Kansas City Chiefs because of a certain kid from Sydney. Jordan Mailata, who grew up playing rugby league, joined the Eagles in 2018 as an offensive tackle. In this case, offensive doesn't mean that he's rude, it means that his job is to keep the other team's defensive players away from his teammate with the ball. When Jordan first got to America to try out for the NFL, he didn't know how to put on the helmet or shoulder pads properly. Now he's what some people are calling the best story in the NFL. Go, you good thing.
Spaced out.
Astronomers have announced the discovery of a rare Earth-sized exoplanet about 31 light years away that could be habitable. Habitable means, of course, that it's possible to live there, and an exoplanet is a planet that orbits a star other than our solar system's sun. This new rocky planet is orbiting a star called Wolf 1069, so it's been given the slightly boring name of Wolf 1069b, but some people are calling it a vampire planet. That's because it orbits its sun without turning on its axis, meaning that it's permanently daytime on one side of the planet and on the other, permanently night. I guess that's the side where the vampires hang out. It will take 10 years for humans on Earth to build telescopes powerful enough to find out if the conditions on the vampire planet are just right for life. But meanwhile, I've put a link to an artist's impression of Wolf 1069b in your episode notes.
Hey folks, don't forget that in partnership with Woolworths, we're in the middle of our search for the ultimate $5 lunchbox. And a shout out to Josh from Parkside in South Australia, who said his ultimate lunchbox would include a homemade sugar cookie, a cup of frozen mango, 4 Cruskets and a mini white chocolate egg. Yum! At the end of today's podcast, Rosie from Rosie's Recipes will be sharing some lunchbox inspo of her own. Be sure to keep listening at the end of this episode.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. Which country's president told teachers that they should use their hands and build temporary classrooms? That's right, it's in Namibia. Question number 2. Sydney kid Jordan Mailata is playing in Sunday's Super Bowl for which American NFL team? You got it, the Philadelphia Eagles. And question number 3. What is the name for a planet that's orbiting a star other than our own sun? Well done. It's an exoplanet.
Shout-outs.
It's February 10, the first day of the Women's T20 Cricket World Cup in South Africa. The Aussies are the defending champions and world number ones, and their first game will be against New Zealand on Sunday morning our time. I'll put a link in your episode notes to follow all the action. It's also a Friday, and you know what that means. Lots of birthday shout-outs for today and the coming weekend. We're going to need to crank out the old birthday reggae tune. Hit it. It's a special day for these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today. Emily from Bassendean, Stella from Flagstaff Hill, Annabelle T from Albury, Lilla, Nash and May from Ballina, and Franklin listening over in Westminster in the United Kingdom. Belated birthday wishes go to Jamal from Oyster Bay, Capri from Burpengary, Candace from Bexley, Unique from Ashmont, and David listening in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Not forgetting all the Squiz Kids who are celebrating a birthday over the coming weekend. Amani from Wallaroo, Xavier from Hornsbury, Xavier C from Wahroonga, William from Waitara, Tom from Asquith, Apollo from Sydney, Bianca from Woongarra, Jasper and Josh from Junee, Tino from Cronulla, Cooper from Burpengary, Mary from Forest Lake, Talia from Nunawading, Nathan from Rochdale, Max from Bathurst, Matilda, Harry and Florence from the Northern Beaches, Chad and Devon listening in Phoenix, USA, and lastly Sammy, a Melburnian listening in Paris, France. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout out, or if you want a classroom shout out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au or fill out the form on our website. That's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again on Monday. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.
Rosie's Recipes.
Hello there, Squiz Kids. It's Rosie here again from Rosie's Recipes as we continue the search with help from our friends at Woolworths for the ultimate $5 lunchbox. Why? Because we all go off to school with a lunchbox lovingly prepared by our parents. But how often do we stop to think about the thought that's gone into it? So, this segment is as much about giving your mum and dad ideas as it is for filling your tummy. All week in the podcast last week, we asked you to send in your idea of the ultimate lunchbox. And a shout out to Josh from Parkside in South Australia, who said his ultimate lunchbox would include a homemade sugar cookie, a cup of frozen mango, 4 Cruskits, and a mini white chocolate egg. Sounds yum! What I'm going to suggest today is both yummy, good for you, and great value. Again, value is not something I really understand, but my dad is always talking about it, so I know it must be important, to him at least. Today, we're going to prepare a Rosie's rice paper roll lunchbox, because there's only so many days you can face the same sandwich. You're going to need rice paper wrappers, skinless chicken breast, red cabbage, carrot, and Lebanese cucumber. I went to our local Woolworths and bought all these ingredients, and it works out to about $4.97 per serve. You're then going to poach the chicken breast, which basically means plonking it into a pot of boiling water until it cooks. Let it cool, then tear it into shreds with a couple of forks. Then soak the rice paper rolls in a bit of water so that they become floppy. Whack in the shredded chicken, a bit of grated carrot and red cabbage, and the cucumber, or whatever veg you'd prefer. I like a squirt of mayo in mine to give it a bit of a lift. Roll them up nice and tight and put them in the fridge to chill. Scrum-diddly-umptious. Healthy, tasty, super easy to prepare the night before, and good value too. What's not to love? I've stuck a link to the recipe in today's episode notes. Enjoy!